No pun intended, episode number 54. This week I am joined by nobody. It is just me. Matt is out this week, so if anyone is joining for Matt only, we'll catch you next week. But I don't think that's too many of you guys. You guys are here for me. Maybe not. So we're going to do a bit of a shorter episode this week, just because I don't have Matt around. But I want to go over a couple of different ChessGoals articles, or chess.com articles, I should say. So number one is the biggest prize winners of 2024. And this year there was two players that won over $1 million from tournament winnings. Obviously doesn't include personal winnings, or this obviously doesn't include personal earnings or money that you made outside of chess via sponsorships or streaming or maybe just like working Uber Eats or something like that. But in just tournament winnings alone, two players won over $1 million, and those would be the two World Championship challengers. That is Gakesh, who had a nice year, and Ding Liren as well. And we talked about this a while ago, but there was some speculation whether Ding was going to actually play the World Championship because he wasn't playing all that well, and people thought it would, like the chess purists thought it would be good if maybe he stepped down and gave someone else a chance. But the number one reason is that I didn't think he was going to step away is because the money is so good. I believe the prize pool for the World Championship was like $2.5 million or something like that. So basically guaranteed $1 million to play. So of course he was going to play. So that was the top two. Number one, Gakesh, with $1.5 million in earnings. Not bad for an 18-year-old, might I add. Number two, Ding Liren with almost $1.2 million in tournament earnings. So fantastic years for them. Ding in particular, he played 5 major events and took away 1.2 million. That's not bad. And Gakesh played 8 events and 1.5, almost 1.6 million. So wonderful years for them. There's another 4 players after them that made over $400,000. That's 6 people total that made over 400,000. So in third place is Ali Reza Faruja. He played 18 events this year, which is a little crazy. I knew he played quite a bit, but I didn't think he played that much. Of anyone who made the list, he had the most major events. Magnus Carlsen in fourth place, $633,000. That's 11 events, followed by Fabi and Jan Nepomniachtchi. That kind of would be tier 2 of earnings, the $400,000 to $600,000 range. And below them, there were 17. And below them, there's another 11 players that earned over $100,000 from chess earnings in 2024. Other notable names, that would be Hikaru Nakamura, Pragnananda, Wesley So, Ju Wenjun is a nice name on there, and rounding off the list, 105,000 for Jan-Christoph Duda. So I was a little surprised that there weren't more players who made over $100,000 in tournament earnings at least. Only 19 in total, 17 in total. That seems pretty low for a major sport like chess. It would be nice to see some of the prize pool upped a little bit, but it's tough to know where that money is going to come from. I guess we need to get bigger sponsors or something like that. Yeah, so if you are young and ambitious and you want to make a ton of money, maybe chess isn't the best avenue to go down, unless you can build a big social platform on Twitch or YouTube or something like that. I would guess that some big chess YouTubers would be on this list, like Gotham Chess. I'm sure he had a good year. He's also got a business on top of his YouTube channel too. I'm sure Hikaru pulled in much more than 241,000 from Twitch, so he probably had a very good year for himself as well. So yeah, that is a very cool article. Thank you for Nathaniel Green on chess.com. I will link that in the description. Thank you for putting that out. So these guys have been compiling the all-time winnings for a couple of years now. It says in the summer of 2022, and for the first time, they had a few people cross over the $1 million barrier. Those 3 people are Ju Wenjun coming in at $1 million, 41,000. Also, Gakesh, 1.7 million, and Ali Reza Faruja at 1.5 million. So, a very good earnings for those 3. It's cool to see that kind of the newer players are making gains on the list and not just the older crew. But number 1 on the list, you'll never guess, Magnus Carlsen, $10 million in tournament winnings. Vishy Anand, $9 million. Kasparov, about $8 million. And it kind of goes down from there. Naka on there, $3 million, by the way. Let's see who else. Anish Giri, $1.5 million. Great announcer Peter Lecco, $1.1 million. So yeah, it was cool. It's cool to see these numbers. The World Chess Championship I'm seeing now, Gukesh won $1.3 million from that event, which is pretty crazy. Next biggest event, Carlsen took down in the CCT finals. That was $206,000. So some pretty good paydays throughout the year. Looking forward to this year, 2025. There sadly is no World Chess Championship, so no FIDE World Championship this year. We'll have to wait for next year. So prize pools will probably, or I guess earnings will probably be down a little bit because we're not going to have that $1 million payday on the top for a couple players. All right, and if you have played on chess.com over the last week, I'm sure you've seen the header banner for Danny Wrench's new book. I got to say, I am ecstatic for this book. It seems like it kind of mixes a couple of my favorite books. I saw somewhere it's like the book meets Educated meets the Queen's Gambit, it says. And those are probably two of my favorite pieces of media in the last 5 years. The book Educated, I think is written by Tara Westover or something like that. I listened to it on audiobook and I thought it was a fantastic read/listen. Very good book. And The Queen's Gambit, obviously, a wonderful Netflix series. And it actually was, the chess in that show was actually very good, which is awesome. I don't always get that from kind of these pop culture chess. But this is exactly up my alley. Obviously, I have known Danny in the chess world. I don't know him personally, but he's been the lead commentator for chess.com. The chess.com, what is it? The chief chess officer is his title. But he wrote a book describing he grew up in a cult, which is crazy. Just an extraordinary story, and I can't wait to read it. It is available for pre-order. Sadly, it is not coming out until September 16th, so we have to wait about 9 months for it to come out. Actually, exactly 9 months. It comes out 9 months from today. So I am very, very excited for this one. He grew up in a legit cult. It sounded like he kind of got taken under the wing by this Russian grandmaster, and I can't wait to see what's in the book. I pre-ordered it. I think everyone should go through and pre-order it. Here's something that my wife told me, actually, is that a lot of bookstores will look at how many pre-orders a book has to see how much they're going to stock it, or even if they're going to stock it at all. So if we all go pre-order it, it's going to help Danny sell this book a little better and also get a story out there and get some bookstores to pick it up. We have asked Danny to come on the podcast, and he said that he'd be willing to do it, but he can't do it quite yet. He doesn't want to say too much about the book until he's probably a little closer to marketing it. So we will keep our ears out for anything that's any news that's gonna come for any news that he may announce relating to the book. He also wrote a very nice blog post that I'll also link in the description, just talking about how he came to actually write this book. So apparently he was approached by some director to make a documentary about his life, and he agreed to it. And crazy enough, he's just kind of hanging out with the rapper Logic one night. Just a random rapper thrown in. And Logic basically talked him out of it and said, a documentary cannot possibly do this justice. You should write a memoir. And Logic gave him this advice because he kind of took the same path. I guess he had a crazy life growing up and also wrote a memoir. This is Logic. I have not read it. I didn't know about it until Danny posted this blog post. And so Logic gave that same advice to Danny, and he took it. And so for the last 3 years, Danny says he's been writing this book, and he's probably had to go through a lot of soul searching to figure out what stories to tell, just remembering all the stories. So it is going to be crazy. I'll just read a description. Born into the Church of Immortal Consciousness, Danny spent his childhood navigating the isolated confines of a cult. Despite psychological manipulation, physical abuse, and neglect, he persevered. An international chess master and world-class commentator, Wrench's remarkable journey led him to be the face of chess.com, one of the largest gaming platforms in the world. So I am curious how much of the chess.com story is going to be told, how much of his childhood and his growing up is going to be told. So very excited to have him on the podcast whenever he is willing to talk, or I guess allowed to talk. um, so I just wanted to fill you in on a couple of stories that I am interested in, a couple of fun things that I have been listening to in the chess news. Another story, actually, I totally forgot about this until right now, but Gotham Chess, Levi Rosman, he is playing in another tournament. On his road to Grandmaster. He is not playing in a GM norm section of the tournament though, so he cannot get a GM norm unfortunately. But he is going to get some games in, and the last time he played in an IM section, he got 8 out of 9. So I think it was 7 wins and 2 draws, which is a pretty crazy result. Be interesting to see how he goes. I know that Hikaru is covering all of the games on his YouTube channel, so you can tune in there, and I will also link Hikaru's YouTube channel in the description. All right, shorter episode today. We will see you all next week, and let us know who you want to see for future podcast guests. If you're still here, likes and subscribes and ratings help a lot. It helps grow the podcast. It's fun to see the numbers kind of go up on the podcast. And so we just want to say thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.